I still think that the artists that are innovating is heavily composed of the gods. You know, like I heard there's at least 6 or 7 albums between together and between solo between Al Divino and Estinac. And we know that they're both 5%ers. They're in our nation. I had arguments on Twitter. I had beef with certain artists that wanted to act like they weren't. And they thought I was picking sides. And I was saying, listen, you could argue with Al Divino all you want. You could argue with Estinac all you want. But I'm telling you that they're in our nation. You know what I'm saying? They built.
Wait. So there are people that saying that they're not.
There was a big thing I got into where they had issues with them. And I said, you could make a beef record against them. You could have issues with them. But don't say that they're not 5%ers, though. That's one thing you can't say, right?
I built with Estinac. I mean, I know C. Divino.
Right. And I built with them both. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I know that their hearts are in this nation. And you know Estinac is heart is the nation. We've been, you know, he's been. I
know he's an educator.
Yeah.
You know, King Asiatic.
The great, you know, remembered in perfection, King Asiatic. You know what I'm saying? Right? As a side note, who really got it wrong when they were learning with him? You know what I'm saying? Wherever they went in the dirt, they was rhyming, they was in all the places where you could try not to be a little savage, though. They were always building in the most savage areas. So that's why I have so much respect for him and what he did. But out of those guys, like I was saying, Estinac, Al Divino, I'm not saying they're the only ones, but they're the few that, when I listen to their music, though, is still doing things that are next level. Like, I still pick up Estinac and Al Divino records together or separately, and I don't know what I'm going to get. That's what you need to continue a movement that is progressive. You know what I mean? And it's funny, I mentioned Estinac because he has a lot of pop appeal. It sounds weird, but he's very pop appeal. You know that, like, when you get a rhyme from him and you're reciting it in your head, a lot of times you're reciting the more pop appeal or his ad-libs, you know, things like that. But when you listen to him as a whole, his techniques, his ideas, they're not very commercial. But the way he delivers, and he has so much pop appeal, so many pop styles.
You're not coming from Sunyaz.
It's just that, no, but the thing is, he has so many different things that he's doing that's appealing, though, you know? So it's like that old school stuff. If Estinac came out in the 90s, though, I think he would blow up like a lot of the great MCs that were dope, but blew up, you know, because they had such unique styles, like a Redman or something like that, you know? Where we know that they're hardcore, we know that they keep it real, but they just had such pop appeal. Like, they appealed, you know what I mean? Like, for whatever reason. With Estinac, it's pretty clear, though, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I went to this, I always thought that Estinac was dope, but I went to this show.
Neck Mandela.
And, was that the Cookout?
Yes. Yeah. That was in the Pilon, right?
I didn't know that it was going to be so dope.
Bear witness. We the true living gods of this motherfucker. Whooping asses, man. In every which way possible, son. Whooping asses, man. Like a Singapore cane. Look at red asses everywhere. Hey, yo, let's go. Let's see what's up, man. Yo, Beast, yo, Divino.
Yeah, I kind of knew. I knew I was missing a good one, you know?
Wow, I didn't know. You know, because I went to just really go show support for the God. And I had just, you know, bought my camera.
If I remember, that whole bill is making almost that whole bill is making progressive music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, but it's very reminiscent of you know, it's bringing it back to the sample beats and everything. And
absolutely, sample beats, all of that. You know, sampling good crates, and that's why I mentioned too. Like, it's not just Estinac, it's not just Divino, it's their production team. I think it's Mr. Rose, Divino's production. They just do things that, like Divino, for example, he made like a trap record, and I wrote about that too because I was being completist in the book. You know that I did not give that a good review, but my bad. Right? Yeah, man. But I also wrote in there, and this was before his next stuff came out, Triple Black Diamonds 2, the Guns and Butter, which to me was amazing to me, right? I also wrote that before I even got up, that even came out, I was like, I know that he gets to experiment with everything. I just hope he doesn't stay in this laboratory too long. You know what I'm saying? But
this is where he's currently at.
Right. But then he came out with Guns and Butter, and that was an all over the place, but it was hardcore as hell. He did 2 albums, Glitch and Triple Black Diamonds 2, as duet albums with SD Nack. And I thought those were superb too, you know? So, like, they're all over the place. And then SD Nack did an album with Sato Gold producing, and that was dope too. You know, there's, you know.
Yeah, I just say, I gotta get up more on them.
There's so much work that they have.
Yeah.
The work that they came out with in 2018 will sound progressive today still. Like, in other words, when you hear it, you go, wow, that's the next shit. I don't hear that. There's nothing that sounds like that, the way they rhyme it. You know what I mean? It's still pretty much ahead of the game. Because they do songs like jazz sessions. They just go in there and they do whatever's on their mind at that time. And so they have no boundaries. They don't make songs and say, this has to be the song that expresses everything I need to say. They just say things. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll say this about
really hard to make music like that.
SD Nack, he does definitely experiment on his beat choice. Right?
Yeah,
he does go like left field.
Right.
But he does remind me of someone coming out of the pun vein. Right?
Yeah. Well, you know, if we listen to old SD Nack, you know what I'm saying? Right. Early SD Nack, though, you know, he was a linguist. You know, he was about the dexterity, he was about the long flows, he was about the breath control. But I really think he mastered all the techniques, so now he doesn't use them. He's like Ornette Coleman, you know what I'm saying? Like, he knows how to play the horn, now he's going to just do whatever he wants, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting to see it, you know, to see the music evolve.
I love it though. And you know, us as 5%ers, I have a pride though. You know, the leader in that. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, there's a lot of shark biters. We gotta take them out. You know? They hear you coming with your word and want to use your words. Right.
Right. I mean, but you know, this is what we deal with.
Well, I'll say this though, because I said that. I'm a journalist, and what I journalize becomes history if it's done correctly, right? So certain words I use to symbolize a movement or detail it, I would expect people to use those words. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you got to give me credit too. You got to give me credit, because a lot of people that cover this music now, they weren't there when I was even naming the shit. You know, so like when they go, oh yeah, look, Rock Marciano did this, or Spit Gems did this, and Napoleon's doing all this all over the world. I was there when they had one album. You know what I'm saying? You know? So, you know, the resurgence, right? Sean P, right? I was the one that was saying that Sean P had to be in the source, right? He wouldn't have been in the year-end source thing. I was the one that put him in there, you know? When he did Monkey Bars, right? Dayson knows we were there together, you know? We were there together.
If Mecca did this.